Good evening. We're about to start our budget workshop planning session. We're here at the beautiful Pahokee Marina, and hopefully this will be a really fruitful meeting. We're going to begin by having a pledge and an opening prayer. We're going to ask that our Vice Mayor, Clara Mervin, lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Father God, in the name of Jesus, God, we come before you today, God, to say thank you. Thank you, God, for another day, God, that you have allowed us to come together. And God, as we come together today, God, we ask you, oh God, to lead and guide us and direct us, oh God. God, we ask you, God, to give us understanding, God, for you said in all things to get understanding. So, for God, we ask you, oh God, as we do the business of the city, God, that you would be with us and you would guide us, oh God. And God, that we can agree to disagree, God, but we come in the spirit of love, God, that we can move this city forward. And God, we give your name the praise, the honor, and the glory in Jesus' name. Amen. To the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have roll call by our acting city clerk, Ms. Adams, if you would. Present.
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 City clerk and Ms. Adams is standing in for city clerk.
Thank you, city clerk. We do have a quorum, although this is a workshop. This is a proceeding that we do prior to the approve our budget. So it's something we have to take care of. And I apologize on behalf of the city for being a little late. We were scheduled to start at 3, but we're a little behind. But at this time, we'll turn this portion over to our city manager, Rodney Lucas, and his staff to lead us in this discussion.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, citizens of Pahokee, and staff. Wanted to start with just a recap of some conversations I've had with each and every one of you. Basically the 3-pager where the commissioners' priorities, I just went through and just recapped Mayor Babs, Vice Mayor Mervin, Commissioner Bowden, Commissioner Gonzalez, and Commissioner Perez, what you guys' top 6 priorities were, and then develop right below it on page 2 the collective city priorities, and those 10, and they can change however you guys want to do it. Marina and campground, infrastructure / smart city, city projects covered by grants, seek new single-family housing and multifamily development, attract businesses to Pahokee, job creation, change land development codes, extend core overlay, annexation, improve our city parks, redevelop splash pad, marina pool, recruit developers for hotels, industrial park, and restaurants and retail businesses. In our first year, for the year 1, fiscal year 22-23 coming up, seeking commission to approve fiscal year 2022-23 budget based on 35 full-time employees. Looking at in this new year to change the land development code to extend core, recruitment of developer for hotel, and as well as other development, begin renovating city-owned properties such as City Hall at 207 Begonia Drive, 360 East Main, 246 East Main, and Marina Campground. Focus right now is to remove any trip hazards around sports complex and marina campground, as well as stepping up our COVID prevention throughout the city and throughout things that we hold as an event. Branding options, agricultural community, convert ourselves into an industrial, and boost our tourism. Type of businesses we can look at to recruit is hotel or condominiums, market our marina and campground, auto parts facility, airplane shuttle or helicopter service, fishing, boat and jet ski rental, outdoor theme park, and the vision. Just the city of Pahokee will continue to conserve, preserve, and manage our precious resources, including Lake Okeechobee, and enhance our position as an economic center for the sugarcane industry, providing retail, medical, education, transportation, recreation, and tourism. The city of Pahokee provides leadership and solutions to ensure a prosperous community where a diverse group of people and nature thrive. Purpose, the city of Pahokee provides protection, nurtures, and cares for its community of residents, businesses, visitors, and supporters. We can create and sustain the best quality of life for the people that are the fabric of our entire community. Within that, we are the heart of Okeechobee Lake community and utilize that presence to foster the improvement of our entire city and all of its residents. And finally, the last two, our mission. The city of Pahokee is a premier destination both to visit and to live. Our community is rooted in a rich history, committed to time-honored values, and dedicated to an evolving, promising, and sustainable future. We embrace tradition and diversity equally to maintain a truly unique environment and character. We celebrate our role as an agriculture heartbeat of the sugarcane, cabbage, corn, citrus economy, cultural, geographically, and the passion about fostering a diverse, innovative, and culturally vibrant population. We are the primary destination in Florida agriculture and marina business and the central hub for the industry as a whole within the state of Florida. Core values: hard work, family and friends, commitment, nature, simplicity, comfort, support. Any things you guys want to prioritize, put numbers to it, or just seeking direction from my commission? Well, I only ask because this is how we're going to set our budget moving forward using this strategic plan. So, but we can get into the budget and come back to it later. That's fine. If you will, I'll turn it over to Ms. Susan, our consultant for our budget this year.
Thank you, Mr. Lucas. Good afternoon, each and every one. The listening audience, I am Susan Gooding-Liebert. I am a certified public accountant, also a certified government financial officer. I am currently a consultant with the city of Pahokee, and I will be presenting your budget for FY 2022-2023. Not a problem. And please, you can stop me, interrupt. This is not the detailed budget. We do hope to bring you, hopefully you'll see that at your tentative meeting, but we just need some direction today, and this could be amended, should be amended to be brought forth to your tentative meeting, and you will see why I made those comments. So this is the agenda. We will do, the city manager already introduced himself, and I will be going over the proposed budget summary. We'll include some other factors. We have the ARPA, we have the surtax, and we have different things that are affecting us as a city right now. We'll provide you with some financial update, just where we are with our FY22 budget, the actual, and then what we are projecting for FY23. And then we'll have some closing remarks. We can come back to what Mr. Lucas stated before we adjourn this meeting. So the budget rationale in putting this budget together was to maintain existing city services. Of course, we do not want to decrease our services. We always want to maintain or improve. Maintain quality of life for the residents as well as your businesses that are within the city, and to maintain a healthy fund balance. And I will say that, I will repeat that again, because the goal of being a sustainable city, a city that is resilient for what is going to come in the future, is always to add to your fund balance. It's not to take away. We can take from the fund balance for a one-time emergency, but not something that you consistently do each and every year to go into your fund balance. We should be adding to the fund balance, not take away. And I say that that's very, very important for a city to survive. Critical dates, we are here, September 9th. This is your budget workshop and planning meeting. Your first tentative meeting will be on September 12th. The second hearing for the final millage and budget will be on September 27th. And it's to adopt your budget for October 1, 2022. And each municipality, based on Florida statute, you must adopt a budget going forward to operate.
If I could just go back to the budget rationale, and this question is mainly more toward Lucas. If we can just add in the first two, maintain and improve existing services, maintain and improve the quality of life of residents and business. Because right now, maintaining means the status quo of where we are currently, just holding on to that. Improving is pushing the needle a little further.
Exactly, and that's why I said we always, in order to be a resilient city, you have to improve and enhance. So that definitely could be added there. You can always say enhance, improve,
Yeah.
all of those
Right.
adjectives will apply. Thank you, Mayor. So the city budget includes no millage increase, and your current millage stands at 6.5419. And I think that millage has been sitting at that mill rate for a very, very long time. As you know, Florida statute says the maximum millage that you can have is 10 mills. However, I'm not sure what year where the fire assessment is with the Palm Beach County, and once they determine what their mill is going to be, that's when the city will minus that from the 10, and that's what you can. So we have been sitting at this 6.5419 for a very long time.
Yeah, to be honest, it's really at the max, or real close to it. It's really not a whole lot of wiggle room in there at all.
And the reason I said that is because if they decide in the next upcoming year or 2 years to change that, it's handicapping the city. We have to then go down on your millage unless your property values escalate. Okay. So I just want to make sure that that is put out there. So, you know, why we're sitting here at the 6.5419 is because we also have the fire assessment with the Palm Beach County. So your assessed value did increase. Everyone know what's going on. The housing markets are booming. Right now, everyone wants something to come down and happen because those who want to buy probably cannot buy. But it's good for the city because at least your assessed value increased, and the city of Pahokee increased by 6.17% based on the rollback rate of 6.1617. Some other areas within Palm Beach increased, but I will tell you everywhere throughout Florida increased. I don't think there was any city in Florida that did not increase. Some increased more than some, which is a good thing. Good, so I always like to share this because everyone needs to understand just what portion of your tax dollar is coming to the city. I will hear residents say, oh, I pay your, you know, you have to listen to me, you have to do this for me, I pay your salary, I pay all of this. But I always like to educate everyone so they understand just how the dollar is divided. 37% of your dollar, of every dollar you pay on your tax bill, goes to the county, okay? 29% goes to the school board, and 27% of that comes to the city of Pahokee. With the 7% remaining, and we know we have the inland navigation, we have the water management, we have all the CSC, we have all of those things. So this is for you to see exactly how your tax bill or your tax dollar is broken down. So come to the city, talk to your commissioners, they are here. Also go to the county and do the same exact thing. Also go to the school board hearing. They have their hearing also. And if you have a concern, make sure those are addressed too. Not necessarily just coming only to the city of Pahokee to address your concerns. So this is the total, and hopefully I will diverge as I go into the financial update. This is the total of all funds that we will be presenting for the FY 2023. The general fund, 5.1 million, special revenue fund, which is your surtax, your Henderson endowment fund, the debt service fund. I'm just proud and so happy to see that the only debt that we have is coming to an end next year, 2023, which is great for the city. That will give you some other opportunities as your fund balance grow to go out and all of those things that your city manager stated, that we want to bring businesses within the community. You can definitely do that. Some of those funds can now be diverged to building up the city. You have the Marina Fund, the Capital Project Fund, the Marina Fund, and your Cemetery Fund. This is all of the funds of the city of Pahokee.
Where is the ARPA funding? In what category is listed?
So I do have that on this sheet. I did not put it there, but the ARPA fund has its own fund, and that should be included right underneath the Henderson. Right underneath the special revenue, it should be right there, okay? So the ARPA fund is there. And
So actually then the general fund for this coming year would be a lot higher than the 5.1.
No, this is exactly, and I want you to bring that down, so I want you to pay attention. This 5.1 is a major increase. I want you to over the prior year, so I want us to bring that down a little, okay? And I'll tell you why I want you to bring it down, okay? So the general fund is the operating fund of the city, and that's the fund, you really want to make sure that you focus on, all right? The ARPA fund is here. Currently, we have 3.2 million sitting in the ARPA fund. We had a 1.5, a little over our first tranche last year. We also got one also this, so currently we do have that. Okay, the only expenditure that I remember coming out of the ARPA fund was what the commission approved, and those were some small incentives for personnel, and you will see that detail out. This is just another way of showing the dollars I show on the all funds. This is just a graph, the representation of so you can see the big 63% is your general fund, and you can see how all of the other funds broken out. So I hope everyone can see this on the screen, maybe a little too small, and I want to focus on the general fund, okay? Because that's the operating fund of the city, and I really, really want to focus on that. I want you to see your revenue sources, and these are the summaries of the revenue sources highlighted. There's also a package that was given to the commission. I'm not sure if it was shared among the audience, where it gave, and I think it was the first page of the second package that explained what the ad valorem taxes are, explain what your franchise are. So there should be another package somewhere here, right here. This one. Okay, that's just a detailed explanation of, you're going to need to go back and forth to that. That's a detailed explanation of your revenue sources in your operating and what it means, okay? And what makes that up. But this is just a summarize of how the revenue dollars are broken down for the upcoming fiscal year. We see an ad valorem because of our assessment. We have a slight increase there. You see the sales tax, you see the franchise, so you can pretty much see where the revenues are coming in. But what I want you to pay attention to, and I'll show you that on another screen, and I think I may hold off my comment on that other screen until I get there. But the percentage on the side, it just shows of the 5.1 million, the ad valorem represent 12.3%. The sales tax represent the 25%. It just shows the percentage of this total breakdown right here, okay, of how all of these revenues are coming in. The next slide just pretty much shows it in a graph format also, what's on the page before. So what I want to talk about before I get into the numbers of the FY23 is why do our expenditures increase? And you'll see that the amended budget for FY22, and I have a sheet that compares the one that we are proposing for FY23, what causes expenditure to increase? We all know, we see inflation. Inflation right now, I'm not sure if it's at the 10 point something, if they're going up, but we know we are all being affected by inflation, and that's what happened. Buying the services, buying the products, it's costing us more. We have technological concern. Many municipalities, the biggest topic that they're talking right now is cybersecurity, because most of these municipalities, the hackers get in and they can hold your city at ransom with your cyberware. So you have to make sure we pay attention to our technology concern. Those should be top-notch. I think when we think about our dollars that we're spending, I think this should be at the top priority of where we make sure that the city of Pahokee is well safeguarded, so a hacker cannot hack you and hold you at ransom to get your information, or so that you can do anything and just lock you down. Are we in a recession, or are we not in a recession? Some will say we are, some will say we are not. Everyone's opinion, but we definitely see when we go to the store that we are facing those prices. So everyone's opinion, are we in one or are we out of one? You know, we have demands for service that's going up. We have our energy cost that's going up. We have our fuel cost that's going up. We know that. We saw it went way up, and we saw it came back down, and we've seen that it's inching back up again. So these are important factors because you are a municipality, you provide services, and these things are causing your budget to increase. Supply and demand. If we want to order an equipment, we want to order some computer, we have to wait and we have to pay a higher price. We are still in COVID. We don't want to say COVID is gone. Many of us would want to think it is, but we are still in COVID. So post-COVID, what are some of the things we're dealing with? You know, so we have to address some of those concerns also. And of course, we all know about the supply chain issues. You know, the products are out in the ocean, then they stuck up, or we're not getting them fast enough, mean that we are bidding, oh, I want it right now, because we are such a nation of getting it done right away and getting it done right now, that we will be willing, once we have the money, to pay for it because we want it right now. So we have supply chain issue. We have tariffs that's going on. We have the war. You know, no one is talking about it, but we know it's still there. Okay, and different events that you guys will be bringing in and what you want to do for the city. You just celebrated your 100th birthday, and there are other celebrations that you may want to do. So these are some of the expenses and costs and things that are definitely going to cause your expenditure to go up. Nowhere here, I didn't even put personnel costs or salary in order to maintain your employee. But I think these expenditures speaks for themselves. I want to I'll just show the revenue. This is a balanced budget, and in order to balance the revenue and expenditure, certain things had to be done. First, coming to this FY23, Mr. Lucas said, Ms. Liebert, would you be able to do a budget for us and present it to the commission? I sat down with each and every department and talked to them. What are their needs for this what's coming up? What are you lacking? Now, keep in mind, their desire may not always be what the city can afford. But I did take the opportunity to sit down, each and every one of them, they can tell you, Ms. Susan, I've never done this before, but thank you. This is what I want, we are doing this. Sit down with Mr. Lucas, this is what we want, these are the projects, these are the personnel, these are the salary that we want to give them. Sit down with Ms. Adam, making sure these are the management. Just okay, that I adjust everything. Everything I spoke with the city manager, the assistant city manager, the department head, is within this budget. It's within this 5.1 number, Mayor and Commission. However, it is going to be up to you if you want to include all of those things. We all have our wish list, we all have our needs, but we also have wants. What is going to take to run this city? Included in this budget, so it has to be a balanced budget. So the expenditures are always going to outweigh your revenues, okay? And you're going to see we have to then use, I talked about the fund balance, to then offset the other side, so we make sure we have a balanced budget. That's going to be a concern. Included in this budget is a 3.5 COLA increase for your employees. I also include in there a 2.5 merit. We moved everyone to a living wage adjustment. We did Palm Beach living wage, and we brought them, Mr. Lucas and said, this is where I want them to be at, and we brought them to that if they were below. We had salary increases for different staff, you know, and we had personnel salary adjustment and things like that. Of course, the health cost is consistently going up. It went off. Oh, I'm so sorry, but at least you have the PowerPoint. You good? You can follow me along with it, right? Okay. So healthcare, I must say, over the past couple of years, healthcare has been going up like double digits, 23%, but at least as far as what I received back from the HR department was only a 5.1 increase in healthcare costs. That is very, very good, okay? And of course, we have increase in operational costs. More people are going to conferences, or you would like them to improve themselves, educate themselves, and other promotional activities, okay? So those are all in the budget. I want us to, go over to the slide that says financial update. Before I go into the surtax and commission approval, there's a slide that just says financial update. Okay, and I want to take us to the little package. Everyone has the package, Mr. Lucas? Yes. Yes. Can you hand me that one? Absolutely. So I can kind of walk you through that package. And the commissioner has it. I'm not sure if we have it all for the working. This little one right here. Okay. So would you like the audience? Would you like to see what my computer is doing? Absolutely. Let me go into my computer. Could you just let me see what the second page is. So that first page was just an explanation of the revenue. Okay, the next page is the personnel. I want you to see all of the personnel that is included in this budget, okay? And it falls in the second page, and there are 55 personnel. When Mr. Lucas spoke, he said we will maybe like to maybe budget for 35. I would recommend that, but I want to tell you that this 5.1 number, this is the 55 personnel cost is within this budget, all right? So you can see all of the positions. What's the next page? And that's 2 pages, so you can see all of it, okay? I'll be able to provide that to a detail of that, Commissioner, so you can see what the salary costs for each and every one, okay? And all of the positions. And you'll see it by the department, not necessarily individual names. You'll see department and what the salary cost is, what the, okay, so that will direct it to Mr. Lucas.
I said that I wanted to see the breakdown of everyone's, we have 55 employees, and I want to see the salary for each one of them.
I'm going to ask you to go.
So just so you know, Commissioner, she based it on 55, but we currently have 35 employees. No, 34, correct?
34.
34, and then 5 commissioners, that's total 39. Just so you know, the actual number we're working with right now. This is if we were at full capacity, just so you know, that's all.
So actually,
34.
So if you may indulge
the
with
rest
me
is the commissioners.
and go all the way to the back.
No, commissioners 5, so that's 39. And the difference is what hasn't been filled yet.
If you'd indulge me in the package, there's a sheet that says, City of Pahokee General Fund expenditure by department, way to the back, for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2023. It has the department, each of the departments. It says amended budget for FY22. It says proposed budget for FY23. It shows the changes, and then it will show you some of those percentage change. It's all the way to the back. I want to make sure everybody's there. There's also a second page that is attached to this. We couldn't print it on legal, so you can actually see the description. And right next to each and every one is a description of why it went up, okay? What the changes were and why it went up. But I can go over that one-on-one with you. So that's the general fund expenditure by department. So you will see the commission for FY 2022 was 113,000, and I'm proposing 90,000. It went down by approximately 22, and there's a little rationale as to why it went down, okay? So, and the reason I'm saying that it stated that it decreased because of the travel and expenditures and conference fees and dues. It was reduced because it was not utilized. So if you're telling me the commission, yes, you know, we didn't want to travel out, but however, this upcoming year, we want you, Ms. Susan, to put this back in the budget because we will be going.
Yeah, I think that was due to COVID. It was a lot of decrease in travel due
Correct.
to partially that.
Right.
I think actually conferences, if I'm not mistaken, would definitely gonna increase this year
Correct.
a lot more than it had.
So when I actually looked at doing the proposed, going through, I take a look at where we are in our spending, you know, and that's how you'll see some of them adjust down. We budgeted for it, it didn't happen, and that's why we're having this workshop, so you can say, yes, let's take it back up to that 113, you know? Let's take it back up because, you know, we will be going to conferences. We will be going out and joining these organizations. So, the clerk is here. If you may put a note, if that's the desire of the commission. Mayor spoke, but if that's the desire, then we can make that adjustment, okay? So the city manager was budgeted at 280, just amended budget, and I'm proposing just a small slight change there. Anything with the 1.5%, I did try not to put an explanation. However, I did put an explanation for everything, every line, so you can see why that went down, okay?
And that's for the deputy and city manager.
Correct. So just to let you know, within that, the city manager, the deputy is split 50% there, and the other 50% is within the community development department. 50% of a salary is in the city manager's office and 50% is in the community development. City clerk, as I stated, it went up about 33%, because from what I was at, there was inside this budget, there is an executive assistant for the city clerk, so that personnel is also in there, split in half between the city that office and I think the front, okay? So, as I said, these are desires sitting down with every department. Do we want to do that or do we not want to do that, okay? So that's the increase. So we have, you can see financial administration, we're still, I'm on contract, we're still hoping to fill that finance director to sit there, because it is very important and imperative that you have someone there on a daily basis that does understand the financial aspects of government and a city. I do understand in going out and getting contractual services in, but you need somebody there who
Day to
knows.
day, exactly.
No, the day-to-day, okay? And understand these numbers, to give you, the commission, exactly what you need when you need it. Having 3 personnel for a 5 personnel department, or 2.5 personnel for a 5, it's not the load. They are falling behind, and you
need a
cannot
finance
get
person.
the information that you need. So that's a critical department, okay? And I will continue to say that. Having just someone there that's going to consistently get caught up on the work. We are behind in our audit, so we want to make sure that we bring the city up in the audit. So whatever is out there, or future dollars coming down, because I know when you go for grants, sometimes they will want to say, okay, where's your current audit? And they can hold you back for that. I want you to be able to apply and get what you need. I don't want, and the financials are very critical and very important. Okay? Human resources, there was just a slight decrease there, and that was because the software that we're using was less expensive than what we had budgeted for last year. Okay, so that came down. The ITV, which is your internet, I spoke about your technology, how important technology is. You see that cost went down, and this is based on the current contract. Is it going to change? Should it go back up to what it was? Because the prior contractors were at a different rate compared to what the current one is. So that's why you see a slight decrease, that decrease in the IT. But your IT, your technology is very, very important. Legal, no change from prior year to this year. Upcoming, the comprehensive, just a slight decrease there, and you'll see why. The explanation is why those charges went down. Okay. We see with the Palm Beach Police Department, the cost that was there, so yes, there's a slight increase. I haven't seen the agreement yet, but that's what was told, that there will be an increase. Prior year it was 565, and I have in the budget 630. I hope it stays there, or I hope it goes down, you know? But at least that's what I was told, that there was that the potential increase. And you can see
Contract for period stuff.
there is an agreement. I didn't see the current one, but there should be a current one coming with that.
The new one?
Yeah. And this is one, yeah.
And with all that money, we cannot afford to have our own police department?
Oh, no. Most of them are.
It's been constant talk about having your own police department, but once you disband a police department, it's almost nearly impossible to restart one.
Of course.
The sheriff department is probably going to be, I'm just guessing, $1 million less than what you would operate your own department. It's just a substantial amount.
Because now you have to have buildings, you have to have equipment, you have to have all things. So it's very hard to restart. And then most of those people have unions and all that. I would not recommend.
Yes, even the retirement that you would have to put in would probably exceed what we're actually paying for the sheriff department currently.
Okay, so further down, you'll see all the different departments and the changes and the explanation as to why those changes. What I really wanted to pay attention to was the expenditure is the first thing that you look at, commission. Okay, Mayor, City Commission. The expenditure is the first thing. And then once we can bring that down or revenue, I gave you the revenue detail. Hopefully, let's see if it's somewhere in here. So I want to go back to the revenue of the general fund, since that is the operating, and I went back to the PowerPoint. Okay?
I have a question on the non-departmental,
In the non-departmental?
yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
and the transfer out, what is that?
So that transfer out is always, and for the past couple of years, we have been always supplementing the enterprise fund, and specifically, that's going to the marina. When the marina, and you'll see it goes to, because the marina is not sustaining itself, the general fund steps in wherever they need and help them. So that's what you see, that 183, is that exactly what you're looking at, ma'am? That is to help assist with the marina fund. Okay. So this is,
Was the non-departmental?
I'm sorry. So non-departmental, if you notice, we had the city commission, the city manager's office, the community development. Non-department is expenditure that covers not necessarily to one particular department, but encompasses the whole city. Okay? So therefore, in different things, sometimes there's insurance that comes out of non-department, like your auto insurance or your general liability insurance, because we have to cover the vehicles. It's not just the public works department, we have to cover all. So non-department encompasses everything that the city may do on a whole. You may have promotional activities in there also, whereas we will contribute to another city's celebration, different things. So that's what non-department, it's not specific to the HR, it's not specific to finance, it's not specific to one department, but it's activities and expenditure that the city does that encompasses the whole city. That's what non-department encompasses.
And that's 200,000?
Yes. So I want you guys to take a look at, go back to the PowerPoint where I were with the general. I want you guys to go back to the general fund revenue by type.
Vehicles already in the job.
Okay, I want to think it's like maybe 10 or 11 slide in, Mayor. It will say City of Pahokee General Fund Revenue by Type. Okay? Yes.
But if everybody,
Right after that. Yes, sir, right after that. Okay, I want everyone to pay attention to, so as I stated before, the expenditure of that 5.1 includes all of the salary increases, the cost of living, all of that stuff, and all of the 55 employees that you have, I showed you on your personnel. So in order to balance the expenditure with the revenue, and you always have to have a balanced budget, and that if you look at the last line on the on this slide, or on this sheet, it says appropriated fund balance. Okay? I want you to pay attention to that. It should be the one, Commissioner Perez, right after the all fund graph thing. It's like number 11 or 12 in. Go back to the PowerPoint slide. That's the one that's stapled, ma'am. Commissioner, this one. Yes, I just want to pinpoint something. It's going to say general fund revenue type. Mayor, oh, could you direct her for me, please? Thank you. So as I stated, the expenditure includes those 55 employees and every desire of the city. I want to show you the revenue that is currently coming in. And I want to show you the last line. it says appropriated fund balance. So if we are going to maintain this budget of 1.5 million, based on the revenue that is estimated to come in, we will need to take approximately 864,000 from fund balance. And I need for you guys to critically look at this to say, give the direction to the city manager, reduce, yes, let's stay at the 34 employees, let's not fully fund the 55 employees, because they are fully funded right now in this budget. Because I really think that we need to, this amount should not, I'm not saying that you cannot, but it should not be this. Go right ahead, Mayor. Sorry.
No, what I was saying, we need to distinguish at some point the unfunded, all of them are currently funded in the budget. I know it's going to cost them to maintain that 55 if we decide to go with that. But I believe the city manager is talking about maybe just keeping it at the current
35, right.
35 employees. But we really need to look at the one that possibly we're talking about eliminating and say, no, that particular employee we need. For instance, it may be the grant writer in there that we feel that that's a position we want to maintain. So we just need to look at that and then determine how many we need to eliminate, if we're going to eliminate any of those 55 we have.
Yes, and based on the request of Commissioner Perez that she wanted the whole 55 position with salary, that would be a good exercise to say, we have this is what we want. Maybe this is critical, but let's not fund them for the whole year, maybe half of the year or part of the year. See what I'm saying? But this number, I just want to bring that to your attention, because this cannot be salaries are consistent and operating costs is going on, consistent. Certain things we're doing this upcoming year, certain things we will not. But I think once you put salaries in an employee individual, it's an ongoing. So I want us to make good decision regarding that, the number of personnel that can really operate this city rather than what our desires are. So we can keep the cost. And that's the reason why I wanted to go back to this particular page and highlight this particular page, okay? And that's an exercise that definitely needs to be done.
I think it will be beneficial to us, you know, like each department, like how many employees they have, what's their titles or what they're doing. I mean, that way you could see, okay, well, you know, like redundant, maybe we could merge these duties and these duties, and, you know, and cut on some of the salary
Absolutely.
instead of having two salaries.
So, based on the direction, city manager, we can get HR to have the personnel. We can take the same personnel and put the salary next to them and what department they belong to. Because they're not in any order, but we can definitely do that. Okay.
So I hear my commissioners wanting a group by departments, the position, then the salary. That way you see all of it versus this in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we have any questions on position and description, we could go to the I don't know, the charter or wherever it gives the description of each job.
Okay.
And then we'll know.
Okay.
Okay, so I just wanted us to make sure I bring that to the commission attention, because that is very critical in how we move forward with this budget. And I'm going to go back to the slide now. And I think this is the time where we talk about some actions that the city commission needs to take regarding, we have some surtax dollars. We want to show you what we are planning on with the surtax dollars. It will be the page right after the, that includes all of the, it will be a nice page that says commission, city commission action. And the first thing will say surtax dollars. So these are like the early, maybe you can question or ask the city manager or the city assistant city manager, but these are how we foresee the surtax dollar being spent currently within this budget. Okay?
Okay, this is current balance plus fiscal year 23.
Yep. So we have approximately $800,000.
Okay, so in actuality, what do we have current? Because the 23 is what we're estimating, right?
Yeah. Currently, for what we have received for FY22 was almost 400,000, 399 plus, almost 400,000.
And out of that, we get the 130 something for the football field.
So we estimate broadband to be 40, for the child care center, that amount, sidewalk replacement, another 300. That's where the biggest dollars will be spent, because from what I understand, with the surtax dollars, that's exactly where we're supposed to spend it. Recreation, 100,000, and we have to want to rehab and renovate some of the city facilities at the cost of 150,000.
This early learning facilities, child care center, where's that at?
Is Ms. Adams or anyone can answer that for the commission? Yes. The early childhood. Where is that program being facilitated?
Is this money that's coming in or money that's going out? What is? To use this money. Okay, so what's the early learning facility? What's the child care center?
Or Parks and Recreation?
He can hear you.
Forgot all about this thing. I'm sorry. This, I think it was just blanketed as putting it in the Parks and Recs program as money that we could use. Because when you look at the surtax, the way that it was defined and what we turned into Palm Beach County, there's certain things that we wanted to do with Parks and Recs, surtax funding for Parks and Recs, whether it was for after school, whether it was for, and I'm just reading the spreadsheet here, whether it was for just upgrades to the facility as a whole, and I think that's, sorry, what that meant was early learning facilities, any upgrades that we did to with the sports complex, but we also use as the after school program. Does that kind of make sense? Okay, so where they put early learning facility, it should have read instead surtax. So on our surtax list, we're making upgrades to our after-school program, the facility as a whole, whether it's the classrooms, whether it's putting in new light fixtures, which we're in the process of kind of doing, upgrading the sinks in our facility, so that they just worded it differently. So that's why I said we just need to work on how that was worded. So that was the verbiage was not put there correctly. But what we have on our surtax list is surtax funding to be used for Parks and Recs, facility upgrades, whether it's equipment replacement, restroom, public access, and they just titled it as early learning facility. So it didn't necessarily mean early learning course.
But we're being asked, though, to give some input and make a decision on how we're going to be spending our surtax dollars even if that's the case, the definition or the items or the projects that's going to be expenditures taken out of need to be more defined, so we can at least have some input. We may say, you know what, we may need to use those dollars someplace else that's more critical. I think we have put in quite a bit of money into our recreation, which is good because it helped the kids, and hopefully we can have programs that also expand to adults and even seniors, but it just need to be a little more defined for us to kind of give a little better input.
If I may, when we submitted when we received the 1 cent sales tax, which is the surtax, the city has to submit a report to Palm Beach County
Correct.
League of Cities. And on that report, the way they broke out, they'll put down the project name, and it'll say Parks and Recreation Improvement, Marina Renovations, and then it says description. So they put in different titles, whether renovations, public access, and then is how underneath the statute it is defined. So if we look at later on, we want to go back and change it up, then we need to submit that to League of Cities and say, you know, we want to move this amount of funding, whether it's 150,000, and put it
Yeah, I
over here.
understand that. All I'm saying is this current 150,000 we're looking at is spending in the recreation department, early child learning, or whatever you want to determine the cause of the terminology of it. This commission would need to know what projects or what improvements or what this money is actually going to be spent on, so we can make an informed recommendation saying, I think some of that, a part of it, or the total amount need to be shifted to another project within the surtax definition that we had defined it earlier.
And what we can do, Mayor and Commission, is, if I may, and I don't want to overspeak Mr. Lucas, but the things that we've done, such as the scoreboard, that was surtax funding that we use for the scoreboard. So when we take our spreadsheet,
There wasn't surtax money.
the scoreboard was used for
I
surtax.
thought it was Ricky Jackson and Mr. Brandon.
Well, that was a donation that was used for a certain part of the scoreboard. The other portion of the scoreboard was not covered from those funds. So for instance, with the poles, that, to make it bigger, a certain portion did not cover. So we used surtax, some of surtax dollars. So we can, what I'm saying is we can go back and give to you all the surtax form, and then whatever we've used in there, you'll be able to see those dollars, and then you can go define how you want to use the rest.
I know that we've been playing catch up for a while, but, I mean, it seems to me like when you're planning on doing something, if you want to take $150,000 for Parks and Recreation, that you would have already known what projects you want to do and have an estimate of what each project is going to be, and then you could, you know, have a better estimate, because by putting $150,000 for Parks and Recreation, and it could be for this or for this or for this, I don't know the rest of you guys, but that's not going to fly with me. I need to know exactly what it is that you're doing. I want to know that you got either your 3 quotes or your bids, and that everything is done, I mean, like black and white. Anybody that wants to see it at any time could. We shouldn't even have to request it. We should be able to go into their website, and you could see all the surtax improvements, and put a schedule, and then as you do them, complete it. Be transparent, not only to us, but to the community.
And that's fine. That's why I said maybe with, I think just how this was worded, it's not saying that 150,000, from my understanding, has been spent on that, or that's where we want to spend it. I just think the wording was.
So let's move forward. So my understanding, commissioners, is that you want to understand the lay of the land or the options for this category, and then you want a breakdown of how we proceed with spending it prior to our spending. And then once we spend it, the allocation of it. So no problem.
Yeah,
So-
that's how
so-
we do
no
transparency to
problem.
the community.
So it's just more detail, but that's what they're asking, so.
And was this,
These are just estimated amounts. These not exact, these not actual amounts. These are just your estimated amounts, like for broadband, was an estimated amount for be your broadband. Might not be 40, but just an estimated amount to get a balanced budget.
Yeah, so with the
Am I
highlight
correct with
here,
that?
yes, with the highlight here from the PowerPoint, we should have had an attachment so that you could get, or the mayor could get to where you guys wanted to assess or have consideration right there. So we just got to give backup so you see that. Because this is quick and dirty here. This is more or less, here's the preview of how these dollars are projected to be spent.
Yeah, I think the reason the question is coming about because it's action. If you look at the topic here, it's a city commission action. So it's action for our input,
Yes, sir.
whether or not this is appropriate expenditure or this is something we want to maybe look at other areas to spend some of this surtax dollars in. So we just don't have enough information to give a better informed
Break it down.
type of a recommendation without that information you're referring to.
okay, and then you have a recreational facility estimated 100,000. So you got 150 up on the top and 100 down here. So, I mean, it's all going to the same place, whether you want to use it one way or the other. That's $250,000.
We'll define it for you and see how quickly we can do it today so that we can get to your input for Monday.
Mayor Commission, if I may ask the question, when surtax was submitted, did you all have participation in how you wanted the report broken out or where you wanted?
I think that was almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, I can't remember that, but I do have a list. I did get a list from Florida League of Cities.
Okay.
Of how it was broken down. I do have a list.
Okay, because that's what I'm looking at and what I was going off of.
So
And it's to my understanding, you can't really just, because that list is for what, another year and a half or so with surtax or,
when does it end?
So we started
So it's kind of like us
2017
defining.
was the
ARPA.
project list started.
We're saying, here's what we're going to do from years whatever there, so,
and I know on the
coming in
list with the
after.
Florida League of Cities, there, as you were stating, Ms. Adams, it might say this topic, but it's a whole lot of things is under that. You know, it's not just that one specific, because they had to be breaking down like that with the Florida League of Cities, because they actually, if I'm not mistaken, oversees the
Yeah, we do a
surtax
report
dollars.
of what we've sent it on. So for instance, the entryway sign that we did at Bacon Point, that was surtax funding. So on that list is, it says surtax, it says entry signage, and then there's an area that says replacement and construction of 2 new entry signs on Bacon Point. We've done one.
Yeah.
So we spent, I believe it was about 26,000, might not be that much, for that entry sign. So that's why I'm saying, even though we may have, and I think it's just verbiage that was used incorrectly, the language, which we will go back with next commission, but saying that we're looking at what those line items are and whether it's even from light bulbs to the fixtures, that those dollars, whether it is for the marina or Parks and Recs, those dollars will come out of surtax funding as defined according to what was submitted to Palm Beach County.
I have a question. Does each department keep track of their expenditures
Yes, ma'am.
and their what their budget started with, and they do their own thing as well as the city?
Yes, ma'am. So when, for instance, if community economic development is doing an event, we have to pull quotes depending on what the cost is. We submit a purchase order into Black Mountain or directly to the finance department, and it's coded under a certain department. Same thing, whether it's Parks and Recs, the marina, cemetery, when they put in requests for certain things, all that is coded to a different department, whether it's coming from the general fund or surtax. When you look at when you receive your budget, each line item has a certain number. So when we put in our expense account, that way finance knows where that money is coming from. And each department should be tracking, because we have software at Black Mountain, that we have an idea of what we're spending. So we're not just out spending money. And if we don't have a certain amount, we can't purchase that item, because Black Mountain won't even allow finance it'll sit there. So finance, we're in constant communication with finance, with our budget, to know what's available and what's not available.
Why when we get our report, we don't get a report, like a detailed report when we get it, supposedly get it quarterly? Why can't we get it monthly?
Well, if I may, there has not been a finance director, so I think we're behind. So if it was not anyone to be able to pull those reports to get them to you all, and with finance, if we get back on track, I'm sure that they'll be able to, once we're back on track, get those things submitted to you.
I just see that if you're putting the information in, computers generate any kind of report at a touch of a button. All you have to do is just put the information. With all the receivables, all your payables, your expenses, you have your different accounts, and you're posting on a daily basis. Whenever you want to run a report, I want it from this year to this year, from this month to this month, from this week to this week. Push a button and it tells you, black and white. Do we not have that?
Need a finance director.
So,
It doesn't take a
first,
finance director. I do it, and I'm not a finance director. I'm not a city, but we got, several people in finance. You have the.
No. I only come here once a week, and I'm helping the city. You know what? The most important thing that I think I need to assist the city with is all of your the audit that's behind. And I'm here doing the budget, but we need to work on those audits for you. You need a person to,
Yes, exactly.
Commissioner, I hear you. If someone sits there on a daily basis, you can get, but one individual doing that, cutting checks, pulling this, doing over there, they cannot keep up.
Okay, so what was Batiste doing?
This woman has been gone for over a year.
let's move forward.
I'm just trying to say, you need to get a person sitting there on a daily basis, and you need to get someone in there who can really handle whatever you're asking for. It's warranted. However, one person cannot do it. Yeah. 1.5 person cannot do it. A 5-person department, when you have 2 individuals, you are overworking them. They're stressed. They're going to be sick. They're going to not come to work. Then it'll be. So I'm just as the commissioner stated, as the assistant city manager stated, once you get your personnel, and that could be the important personnel that you said must be in this budget. You see what I'm trying to say? To sit right there, so you can get the reports you need at the request of the commission.
It's just aggravating. It's aggravating.
Yes.
We're not moving. We're not moving because it's always the same excuse. We're short of personnel. We don't have a finance director. We don't have economic development. We don't have an HR now. It's always, this is my 2nd year, and I'm so aggravated. Nothing that I ask I get, because we're short of personnel and it's taking time. The ones that we have either is sick, the ones that started quit. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. You can't move forward because you take one step forward and then you're taking 10 backwards. I just, it's very aggravating to me. It is. I don't feel like I've done anything in a year and a half, but, just ask questions. That's about it.
So on the screen, if I may, am I okay to move forward? Thank you, Mayor. I have the ARPA dollars that are sitting up there. And Ms. Johnson or City Manager, if you want to speak on it as to what we hope to do. I mean, I was informed that there is an ARPA committee.
Before the ARPA,
Committee.
I asked about the recreational facility, the other $100,000.
So going back and don't mean to
I
regress.
think what we had
We can
said that we would
detail,
get
we'll
some
provide
more
detail.
defined information
Yes.
so we can have some
Yes.
input. So that's going to be
For that
forthcoming.
expenditure. Sorry, Commissioner. So these are, again, proposed, and it says city commission action, and really, I think this is a very detailed list. Maybe there could be more. There's like 3 pages of what we hope to, but from what I do understand, there is an ARPA committee. But keep, I want to just caution the city. The ARPA dollars are supposed to be spent by a certain time.
Exactly.
It needs to be, you have 1 more year to include it in your budget. It needs to be included in your budget by FY24 to be able to be spent by FY26. And so I'm just cautioned, the more you delay or hold on to it, and it needs to be spent in the way that the regs, it's stated, these are the criteria, these are the categories that it should be spent in. So I'm not sure what the committee is. I was told that there was a committee, so maybe someone else who is more versed can speak on the committee, but I don't want them to kind of hold tight your hand, commissions, okay? So either you get updates and it's very monthly or bi-weekly or whatever, because these dollars need to be, because we don't want, this is a great, $3.1 million, 3.2 that the city can have. You don't want to give this back. You do not want to give this back. So that's all I have to say on it. There's a very detailed list here. There could be more, and it behooves the city to move on some of these things, okay? I'm not sure. So if somebody wants to speak on the committee, I'm not versed on that part. But I just want to make sure that I put it here and bring it out that you do have the dollars to spend. Let's spend the dollars, okay?
Okay, so these ARPA dollars, okay. It says prepaid period, so fiscal year 23-24. That's like $1 million there. We pay like $500,000. Oh, or now even higher because it went up. So, this all this is that money or what is?
So, yeah, last night, I took the liberty to send to the commissioners a breakdown of staff recommendation that has the earmark and the dollar amount for you. So Monday, I have it on the agenda for discussion and direction on what you want to do regarding the ARPA Advisory Board and a proposed list from their input, and they had given us like a response sheet. Ms. Bolin, y'all had all said, here's how we want to see the money spent, right? You didn't give yours? Well, most of them gave their input. So we as staff, I've gotten information from Ms. Boulay Washington, and we went through and we did an allocation. So we need to get to a understanding of that Monday.
Everybody turned in, everybody that was
Well, she said she didn't.
Why didn't you, Regina?
Go ahead, Mayor, may Ms. Boulay Washington speak. Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead and separate, if you don't mind, Ms. Peggy.
Good afternoon, everyone. In addition to, the committee has always been encouraged to share their input via email, via phone call, however they felt comfortable sharing their input in addition to our meetings. This has been expressed just about every meeting, if not every meeting. Some members chose to submit their input via email and or in person at the meeting. And those inputs were shared with our leadership, with our city manager and our deputy city manager. So whoever turned in their input via email or in paper or via phone, that was documented and sent to my city manager and my deputy.
That was the agreement on the last meeting that was had.
That is what was asked of me. What I'm saying is that is what was asked of me, of my superiors. So I obliged, I sent the information in, and from there, the decision was going to be made as to where we would go as far as scheduling the next meeting or whatever the next steps are.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask?
Yes.
Do you have it prepared? Can I give you my email and you send it to me? So I can, yes. Okay.
Where are we with the committee? Are they still meeting? Are the opera committee still meeting? Where are we with the opera committee? Because as you hear from, which we all know that there's a time frame, and we're pretty much about the only city that have not, done anything with their opera funding. You don't want giving money to have to be given back.
That's not going to happen, though. I mean, we got to the 24.
Yeah, you
really
have to,
26,
but what I'm
be included in your 24
what
budget.
I'm saying,
so,
but we have not even have a direction of where to go. I'm just speaking directly where to go.
Yes, so
and you have to also, once things get in place, you already know how, we're looking at how slow businesses is coming now as far as doing the work. You have to put out for bids, you got to wait 30, 90 days for this, put it out, then you have to get the construction to come, and it's not like they're at the door waiting for work because of COVID. So all this, that's probably about another year before you get anything done. We're already in the end of 2022. So, not saying we're going to lose it, but we just want to get on the ball.
So to provide clarity, the first few meetings were successful. We had quorum the last two meetings due to emergencies that several of our members had. We did not have quorum, and because of this, leadership wanted to consult with each other so that they could speak with mayor and commission as to what the next steps are. I was asked to share some information so that they can give better insight when they speak with mayor and commission, and so I did just that, and here we are today. If it pleases the commission and management, if the committee, if you all want us to continue meeting, I'm in constant communication with the committee. As Ms. Boland knows, I call the committee, I speak to them often prior to the meeting, so if you want to continue with that, we can, or...
They can't vote right now, so I'm going to bring it to them Monday.
Okay.
And then I'm going to just bring all the supporting documentation as backup compared to what we assessed or compiled so that the commissioners can make the appropriate decision.
So the committee is well
Is
aware.
this not from some of the members?
If I may add one thing, Mayor, in reference to when the money can be spent, but we also know that we have to have it budgeted. So,
as I say, you're going to have to include it in this year budget up to
Yes.
24
So
budget. So
that's
we're
why it's
talking about at least
imperative.
2 years.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're going to wait that's why we're doing it now, to process and expedite and move forward. So I don't think it's going to be a matter of us, I just emphasize turning money back, but even the finance person have told us, you know, let's make sure that we,
Have accounted for it in our
yeah,
budget.
and we're going to do that.
If I may, also, most of the things listed in the ARPA breakdown in your packet align with the committee's request or ideas as to what they would like the monies to go to. So it would just be a matter of everyone consulting and saying these are the final decisions that.
Well,
the
Ms.
committee-
Boulay, the city manager, he did send us some of the input from the committee, from what the committee was asking for. So he gave us a
Yes, ma'am.
breakdown of, so I guess we just wait, get Ms. Boulay and put it in, you know, if it's not a duplicate of what they have, but it has, they sent us the background of what the committee was looking for, how to spend, whether for the part for the residents, the COVID reimbursement.
It's very
here.
similar. It aligns
Yeah,
very
it's-
close
Yes.
to what's,
And they broke down how much money, percent of money to put towards it.
so I've done my due diligence in making sure the
It's there.
committee is informed, aware of what ARPA is, what the dollars should go to, and I've given them that platform to share what they would like the dollars to go to. I've also, during meetings, I've also expressed to them that they do not have to wait until the meetings to share their input. They can always email me, they can always call, phone it in, or they can bring it to the meeting. So many of our members have chosen to take one of those routes, and several of our members chose to just voice their opinions at the meetings. And then we have other members that wanted to wait until we would reconvene, such as Ms. Boland, to share among her peers, which is right, it's fair as well. So everyone just took a different approach, but what I had tangible is what I submitted.
Okay, this ARPA, on the parks improvements, I know we got a splash pad, but the walking, jogging path, do we not have a grant for that? Was it $250,000 for it?
Yes, there is money working out of the state that we know, 250. Oh, sorry. It's like $270,000 that we're working out to redo Martin Luther King Park. But there's other things that we got to do too, because there's the cost of the playgrounds. There's additional cost to these things, just to move things from here to over here, to redo the plans, to get the engineering costs. All these things are substantial. Just looking at it, so we're going to need help from all phases of this.
And Commissioner, also, that money is reimbursable, so we have to spend the money first before we get it back, plus the $20,000 of the match that has to come from the city.
Right, so how do we keep track of that? Yeah, I think it's this.
It's in your email.
Yes, that's different.
This is what I got, this,
Yeah, we didn't print it.
and this. That's what I
Oh, hold on.
got.
Here you go. There you go. That's it. Yeah. That's this. That's the breakdown, so you know the numbers. Like I said, this.
Yeah,
So-
because here it's got 2 road entryway signs, but we've already got one.
Yeah, it was a total of 3 or 4 that we had included that we were gonna have done at all the main entryways in the city. So those are just the 2 additional ones that we're looking at funding.
And the vehicle charges, there's a bunch of grants for that.
Well, this is just a start. This isn't an answer for all. It's just a suggestive process that commission will have their say Monday and
And Commissioner, if I may, even though there's funding available and it's grants, a lot of grants also require you to either have a match, they're reimbursable, and there's other stipulations that go along with it. So we still need dollars in our coffers so that we can ensure the things that aren't covered with a grant or whatever, it may be minor things, but we also need to ensure that we have those funds available, especially when you're looking at doing projects at the onset, the site plans and all those things that take place. We have to be able to cover the costs for those surveys and whatever is needed for, you know, the surveyor, the architecture, the site plan, all of those dollars.
Well, that, don't the city take all that in consideration when you go out and solicit the grants?
Yes, ma'am, those dollars have to be included when you do a budget to submit that grant.
well, in the case of ARPA, the federal government said based on our size,
Yeah,
based
yeah.
on this, they told us how much they're going to give us. So no, in this case, we didn't put it together and say, hey, let's submit for this amount. We were told the amount. And then categorically, you guys came together as a commission and says, we like these categories. Now we're defining it to what it's going to be. And that's where the advisory board stepped in. So I will, if you can get that to me as soon as possible, I will get that as backup for Monday night's meeting, so you can see all their
Yeah, the
suggestions.
thing, where I'm getting at is, okay, we have it on the surtax, and we have to fill it out, we have to turn it in, okay? Some of this stuff, there's grants, there's money out there for all this stuff. They said that, once you spend, let's say you spend this money to do it, are you allowed to apply for a grant for those same improvements? And then if you leave that money there and you get the grant, in case that you don't need it, what happens to that money?
But you're going to have to spend the money. We have to spend it. Now, categorically, we can move the money. So, for example, one of the cities here in the Glades said that they had a slow response for their businesses getting a business grant. So they started out with 5,000, but they had low turnout. So they went, as a commission, went back and added more money and upped it to 10,000 per business to get consideration. So you can modify, you just got to spend the money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we could get the money from elsewhere, why don't we use this money for something else? Because we know that there's grants and all we have to do is apply and get them. That's my thing. You know, if you have it, you have to spend it. But you could only spend it on what you said that you were gonna spend it. As far as I understand, that's how it works. That's my point.
And collectively, the commission will get that done. So if the commissioner just look through this, and then, like I said, last night, I also sent you more of a detailed thing, and then you'll have the backup. So this will get handled Monday by the commission. and you have the numbers for all this stuff, so you have it. Because you got it highlighted. You did your homework.
Is this rehabilitation, renovation, remediation to sports complex? What sports complex is that? Is that the
So we call 360 East Main the sports complex. We call Marina and Campground complex because holistically it's the whole thing we're trying to address. We're trying to maintenance it. We're trying to keep it going, maintain it. We're trying to prevent COVID spread. We're trying to do all the things that they're asking us with this opera money to do. And just like you're making suggestions now, can something be replaced with something? Sure. You're onto it. You're great. Any more questions? We can move
Well,
on.
another thing to me is that, I mean, we have the gym that it took about 20 years for it to be completed. And the only thing we finished is the basketball and the bathrooms, okay? Under it, we have all this property it was all torn down and nothing's been done, where we could have a concession stand, we could have locker rooms, we could have a truly sports complex. And to me, that's okay, you take one project and complete it. We're putting money into the sports complex, let's put it and okay, this is off the list. We finished that. We did the football, we did the scoreboard. Like I mentioned to you, because you tried to tell me about Ricky Jackson that gave the $5,000 to the scoreboard.
Well, I'm not going there.
The football field was named after him. You
I
want to
have-
the man put his name on it.
This is not the forum. This is a workshop.
Where are we? Okay, good.
So there were, just to recap, for you guys, sorry, this is just a recap. So we have the surtax dollars, the ARPA dollars. I think we have consensus on our millage remaining at that particular one. And just to the bottom states what is included in the budget. I've heard direction regarding the 55 that we have in personnel to bring it down to the 35 and giving you details of what you need in that. That will definitely bring dollars down. Okay, so we got directions, and I'm not sure if Mr. Lucas, I will turn it right back over to you if you will return back to what you had opened with. And I thank you, Commission, for your attention and for your questioning. I do hope that this was insightful and that hopefully you'll get some questions answered based on what you have put forth. Thank you.
So I just wanted to understand from the commissioners, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioner, do we want to move forward so I can have Ms. That is not me. So may I direct Ms. Susan to reduce from 55 showing down to 35?
I
To
don't
see that number?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we need to look at the remaining position to see which one of those we want to include in that 35 that we currently have. I think it's critical to add some staff, maybe not the entire 55,
Okay.
those critical positions that we need. For instance, in finance, if we need 5 individuals in there or 4, we need to make sure that we have those budgeted and in there. If we need additional folks in parks and recreation or streets and roads or whatever department that's critical and need some additional staff, I'd like to see us have that in there. So at this point, I don't think we should be telling her to just limit it now to the current 35 until we can get some more input in what position we need to make sure we have budgeted and funded.
Yeah, once we get the list of the employees, their titles, their salaries, see what we could afford, what we don't need, and what we could, do without, because we need someone in somewhere else, because if not, we're not gonna be able to go nowhere.
Okay. Well, before you leave, can you get that so that I can get the agenda out to these guys? So electronically, the mayor would like to have the full budget. So I want to be able to get that to him and all the commissioners this evening if I could.
Agenda out is important. So as was stated by the commission, the consensus, I will leave in the 5.1, and then you will provide those details. And definitely, yeah, I can't promise you this evening. This is my Sabbath evening. However, I would definitely say tomorrow after my Sabbath, I can email it out to you, and then you can send it to the commission, and it will have the detail of the department. Just need to make sure certain things tie based on the numbers, tick and tie. Okay? If you give me that time, I can honor that request.
Thank you.
One thing, Mr. Lucas, could we please have the agenda earlier than Saturday, when our meeting is on Tuesday?
Today, this week is Monday. Because
What
we,
is Monday? The meeting?
Commission Day. So as soon as I
And we don't
get out of
have
here,
the agenda yet.
oh, well, it's sitting in queue because we needed a number. So we still can't give you the number because now you guys want additional detail so you can make that decision of how to reduce it. So it's pretty much already
Not
formatted.
voting on it.
So if I may
Monday
be-
you will be.
If I may make one comment, we can move the resolution with the number that's in here. The only thing that we can't do at the meeting on Monday is to increase your millage. But we can always bring the budget down, keep the millage the same, and for your second reading. Because that's just the first reading, okay? So by all of what you need with the projects and all of that, the personnel, you get your second reading will have a tight. You'll see all of the detail, they'll make that. But I'll provide that to them ahead of time. But it definitely won't be able to make it by the Monday, since the commissioner wants the agenda. But I definitely, by the 27th, you'll have all of those things. Okay.
And also, I would suggest, just as a suggestion, that we consider a consultant for our opera program, just to make sure that whatever we're spending the money on fall within the proper guidelines. The previous interim city attorney have some expertise in there, and we still have that contract. I'm just as a option. That person could be utilized. I think their fee is like $225. So you're talking about 5 hours, $1,000. But we do have that, and most cities are using a consultant because it can come out of your ARPA funding, and it won't be that expensive. But it would safeguard us in the event that we make some errors and have to repay money back in the future. I'm just suggesting we consider doing that. I know we're having staff come up with some of the guidelines on how, say for instance, the business that we're looking at assisting. Just make sure we properly do it. I'll put it that way. Look at what we're doing and say, yes, that's something that can be done in the guidelines and framework.
I will reach out to Gemma and copy you, sir.
And also, because, I mean, I know this is just preliminary, but, like on the ARPA, you know, what, there's gotta be criteria, there's gotta be, I mean, there's gotta be qualifications, you just can't say, okay, the first 3,000 people, I mean, there's gotta be.
Case, if we're gonna go legal, staff has already started crafting guidelines for each of those sections, but like you guys saying, you want us to do more of a due diligence, that's not a problem. I'm on it. That concludes my stuff, Mayor.
Okay, we certainly like to thank staff for all the input and all the work they put into this budget preparation, and I think we're moving in the right direction and on track. Any last quick comments from commission? Hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn our workshop. Ain't that but, it's just a formality, I mean. Okay. Right. By consensus, we're adjourned. Thank you.